United States intervention in Nicaragua in the 1920s. During the early 1900s, Nicaragua was involved in constant rebellions and revolts between liberals and conservatives. U.S. Secretary of State Philander Knox intended to stay neutral until President Zelaya of Nicaragua commanded his forces to execute 2 U.S. officers. The United States then imposed a puppet government, and Zelaya was soon removed from office and replaced by conservative Adolfo Diaz. In 1912, Diaz requested military assistance from the U.S., which began the U.S. occupation of Nicaragua for roughly 21 years, ending in 1933. A leading factor of U.S. intervention in Nicaragua was that the United States wanted to stop any other nation from building a Nicaraguan canal. Emiliano Chamorro, alongside U.S. officials, would later sign the Bryan-Chamorro Treaty, which gave the U.S. the right to build a canal in exchange for $3 million. The election of 1924 resulted in the presidency of conservative Carlos Lorenzano and the vice presidency of liberal Juan B. Sacasa. Shortly after this election, U.S. Marines intended to withdraw their forces in January of 1925 as a result of the U.S.'s discontent with Nicaragua's new government. But, at the request of the President of Nicaragua, the Marines did not leave until 6 months later. In 1926, Emiliano Chamorro removed Lorenzano from office and took on the duties of the presidency. The U.S. then refused to recognize Chamorro as a legitimate president. Augusto Sandino began a series of rebellions in May of 1927, causing an uproar of complaints and riots throughout Nicaragua. While serving as the commander of the army to defend the national sovereignty, he launched a guerrilla war against U.S. forces and refused to put down his rebellions until he achieved his goal of ending U.S. occupation and establishing a constitutional government free of foreign domination. After fighting 500 battles, the U.S. finally withdrew their forces in 1933 and left behind Anastasio Somoza as the commander of the National Guard with the intent to protect Nicaragua. According to the U.S. Department of State, today the U.S. government works to promote prosperity, security, and democracy in Nicaragua.
Created using Powtoon.